What's going on, everyone? Welcome to American Truck Simulator, another run here today, and what I have is B-Trains, advanced B-Train tankers. Comes from Trayscapes Modding, and this is not something that we normally see in America. It's not, it's uncommon, I guess you could say. It's not impossible, they are here, but these are more of a thing up in Canada more than anything else, but they are real, and they're pretty damn cool. With the guys over there at Trayscapes with Banshee Woe, and I imagine he was the one that originally had the trailer here. He sold it on one of, like, a Turbo Squid, for example. Zador, Harvin, Trayscapes, and Ventires, or Ventries, yeah, Ventires, whichever. They put this all together here, and it already comes preloaded with a nice amount of skins. The trailer skin here is from Pauly. And so when you go and select it, it should show up for you guys when you go to hit that little gear to change out what the name of the tanker. But great work. The stock photos that they have for this have gallon, chem station, things like that. So you got SCS companies in there, and there's also an all chrome version, which should look pretty damn nice. And I'll debut that or I'll show that off on a later video. But this one here, see if I can. We got the flammable gas down there for the placards. Really nice work on this one, even with the manways up there. Now, the skin here for the truck comes from ATS Experience. He's even got his name right there on the sleeper. This has been out for a while, and I was going to show this off before, and I just never got around to it because Pauly also has a regular fuel tanker that has Texaco on it, and I thought it was a perfect combo. Now, this is the first time I've used this one, and so if you guys have not used this one before, here's a little heads up for you. That doesn't show up on the outside. It's got the logos on the hood when you get in the cabin, but on the outside, there's nothing. Really don't know what's causing that. I do have a mod pack on here. It comes from Alan. It's the W900 accessory mod pack. So some of this stuff on here, like the DEF tank and the 300-gallon fuel tank on there, different choices and steps, multiple different choices and stacks, which I really do love. A lot of work put into that. Choices in what box and step you want to run, things like that. Choices for days. Very cool, very cool. So that is pretty much it, I think, for this whole setup. I am running Kriechbaum's new 2.6 version of his engine sounds pack, along with his transmission, tires, and asphalt sounds. So some of the sounds might be a little different. Little on the fence on it. It sounds good, but some of the Cummins engines he tweaked, and I kind of like the way they used to sound, to be honest. But other than that, I think we're ready to go. Quick look at the map here where we're going. Chevron over here in Fresno, and we're just running right around the corner to a gas station over here in San Francisco. So I'm going to have my driving abilities challenged here, especially when I get into the huge corkscrew here and get through San Francisco with these. So we'll see how I do. Cummins ISX 15, 550 horsepower is what I have underneath the hood right now. I wanted to stick with a current engine, or somewhat current, because I do have the DEF tank on there, so running an N14 would not fit with that DEF tank on there, since those engines, I believe, if I remember correctly, were not around for this. Now, if it was a DEF or DPF filter, it might be a different story. And see how that rear trailer just seems to kind of drag its way across. So taking wide turns is going to be important. quick information look here. What are we tipping the scales at? 81,000 pounds of gas. A little bit of weight. A little bit of weight. So let's bring that up. Put that away. Alright. Stay between the lines here a little bit, shall we? Oh, so speaking of tankers, I don't know if it came across your guys' news feed. It's something that was shared quite a bit by many people. Over in Plainfield, Illinois, just I think on Friday afternoon or maybe Thursday, but a freight train, Canadian National Freight Train hauling cars of crude oil, derailed. And the cause at this time of recording is not known. There is theories from people that the gas pipeline that was being put in underneath the said railroad tracks could be the cause, and you know, I can understand how that could be, because it looks like all the rail cars piled up right there on that spot as if the ground gave way. But I would say 15 cars look like they all piled up on each other and smashed into each other. And estimated 40,000 gallons of crude oil is leaking or has leaked from the tankers. So I would imagine the company I used to work for, the environmental company I used to work for, has their industrial crew out there, and it is all hands on deck once they have secured the scene. And but they were out there spraying foam on the crude oil, because any kind of spark can set that up. I mean, it is still flammable. The flash points is a little higher than it is for gas, but it can still catch fire, and that's definitely not what they want to have happen. All those tanker cars still pretty much full. They do not want that to happen. In Plainfield, although it is, on map-wise, a very big town, it covers a lot of land, but it's still kind of spread out. I call it suburban country, because you'll have a subdivision with, 500 homes or whatever, and then at the end of the street you have a cornfield, and then you go a mile or two and then it's another subdivision. So that's pretty much the layout of Plainfield, and it is I would say upper middle class, somewhere in that area. Homes are 250 to 500,000 depending on the subdivision. So I mean, it's not a relatively cheap town to live in. You're not going to be living there if you're working at McDonald's or you're a waitress and the husband works at the local hardware store. But yeah, quite a few cars derailed, at least 40,000 gallons of crude oil into the ground, and the DuPage River is not that far away, so they are very nervous that, come on, turn it, okay. They're very nervous that it's going to creep into the river, which would not be good at all. But, it started up a debate with people in the comments. Oh, there's another one coming in. No, he's turning, okay. Oh, well, I guess you're really wishing you had that pipeline now, didn't you? Of course, there was people like that. Of course, there were people who were, oh, well, this is dangerous and they shouldn't be transporting it through here. Which led to people saying, well, you want all your stuff, you want your fuel, you want your products and everything else. How else do you think it's going to get to where it needs to go so that product can be made? And that is the way it's happening right now in the Chicagoland area. Is rail traffic has become so congested that the rail companies are starting to buy up the local hub-style railroads. The Canadian National actually owns a line that I grew up behind called the EVGA, the Elgin, Joliet, and Eastern. And so now they route all their traffic, as well as Union Pacific Railroad gets routed. And that way it avoids them having to sit with long delays stuck in traffic while they're trying to navigate their way through this, basically the heart of Chicago with Amtrak and Metra getting in the way. So things like this, the train traffic out in the suburbs has definitely increased, and they're not too happy about it. But, what else are you going to do? You're not going to put 100 cars of crude oil on the tanker trucks. That would be insane, the amount of truck traffic that you would have on the highway to deal with. I honestly don't think it's really possible. So many people are protesting pipelines. So, that's not really going to happen either. So tanker car is still one of the best ways to go. But it also, those same people, I don't want it going through my neighborhood. And then one woman put up a photo of tanker cars that had their hoods open, their lids open, their manways open. And she said, they were transporting hazardous material with the lids open. I was like, no, they weren't. Well, they were still placarded. Why the lids open? The lids were open because chances are it just got offloaded and it's being vented. Well, why is it still placarded if it's empty? Because it's called residue empty. When you have a flammable material that was in there, you cannot pull the placard off because it still poses a danger. It's still flammable. The fumes are still flammable. Fuel trucks, say for these, perfect example, these two trailers right here. I could be hauling these things empty right now. I will still have to have a placard on them unless they have been certified, cleaned out. If they have not, then there is still, as they call it, residue empty, there are still fumes inside the tanker which can cause an explosive reaction that can still catch fire. So I have to leave the placard on. The same thing goes for tanker cars on the railroad. And so anyone that hauls fuel on trucks, you'll probably say the same thing. Tanker cars on the railroad are the same way. And so this woman was just, making this huge fuss about it without actually going and getting the information herself. And so I had to go out and do all the work for her, which, well, I try to do for you guys anyway, so that's really no different than me making a video for you guys to convey the information that I have found. But, if you guys ever have a question, you don't wait for me to make a video for you or answer it. Google is your friend. I can't say that enough. I really can't. So anyway, yeah, it'll be there when it's there. Shut up. Anyway, it actually, I didn't know a whole lot about tankers as in the first place. I never really hauled tankers. The company I worked for had tankers, obviously, but never really got into it myself, so I really couldn't say what's what. And so I actually had to go and look up a lot of the information myself. Isn't there iPass through here? E-toll, yeah, there it is, way over there. Screw that noise. So yeah, if you guys ever see tankers going down the railroad tracks with their manways open, and that's what they call it, hatches on top of manway, chances are the tankers are empty. I mean, no place, because she's like, well, what if they're still full? I said they probably wouldn't have left the place where they got filled up at with the lids open. And I almost guarantee you that even if they did by some fluke, they wouldn't have made it out of the rail yard. Because that's just a major no-no to be doing that. It's just like when I was driving, I was carrying drums, and you're not going to carry a drum of liquid, solvent, oil, whatever the guy had, without a lid on it. No way, no how. And the same thing goes with the tanker car, truck or train-wise. You're not going to haul it if it's not sealed. And I flat out told her, I said, look, if that lid was open and that thing was full of crude oil or whatever the placard was, it was flammable placard, but I couldn't read the numbers. The photo wasn't that great. I said, you would have seen the crap sloshing out and falling down the sides of the car. That's not evident here. So that tells me these tankers are empty and they're being vented. Nothing more to it. Nothing for you to worry about. You're not going to die of asphyxiation or some kind of poisoning or some crap like that. So, I mean, she was just someone that was, you know, freaking out, and we all know those people. You know, they're the types that are going to sit there and wave their hands in the air and say, "Somebody think of the children." You know, like Miss Lovejoy, Reverend Lovejoy's wife on The Simpsons, you know. "Somebody think of the children." I can't stand that line. I really can't. Why don't the parents think of the children? Oh wait, did I just say that out loud? So anyway, yeah, it's a little bit of a mess, and so I'm sure the company I used to work for, you know, they're out there. There's going to be multiple companies out there, I bet. They're going to be doing ground remediation. So that means they're going to be, you know, not only soaking up and trying to clean up as much of the crude oil as they can, but they'll also start digging out a lot of the ground that has been contaminated by oil as well. And so that will get removed and processed and cleaned, and eventually it'll be fill dirt if, you know, a construction company needs backfill to fill in holes or something like that. Or the garbage dumps need backfill when they go to cover their piles. Not a bad looking combo, if I say so myself. Eco freaks are probably losing their mind right now. I'm Jake breaking. No, that's only if I'm rolling coal. You stopped. All right. Where are we parking this boy? Oh, right there. All right. Is she gonna get in here? I think so. Alright guys, there we go. Ready to offload this so everyone can get their fuel and go on their merry way. Hopefully you guys have a good 4th of July. To my Canadian friends, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, my apologies. But my Canadian friends who just celebrated Canada Day, happy post-Canada Day to you. And to my American friends, enjoy eating all your burgers and your brats and your steaks, and don't blow off any fingers. So hopefully everyone still has all 10 when we come back to our next video. So until then, enjoy the holiday. Thank you for watching. Take it easy.